feel like I should be like Walter Cronkite from back in the day, just like chain smoking on the desk. We now enter day 5,972 of Vikings defensive coordinator search. All right, so as of right now, it seems like the Vikings' top two choices are Brian Flores and Ejiro Evero. Not particularly in that order, but we finally got some movement. Got some more clarity on Friday. Ben Gessling, Star Tribune Go. The Vikings formally requested to interview Ejiro Evero on Friday. While they wait to see if the Broncos will grant their request, Flores remains high on their list. And update of the defense core search, blah, 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 blah. So, Evero, Broncos DC, served with Kevin O'Connell on the Rams staff for 2 seasons. Also had some time with Kwesi, some crossover in San Francisco as Evero was getting his career started. All of that stuff. So it makes sense. Evero's a hot candidate name, both for DC as well as head coach. So I kind of get why the Broncos are hanging on to him. Albert Breer tweeted this out this morning. The Vikings still have not been given permission to interview Broncos DC Ejiro Evero, who remains the top target for their DC job. Evero spoke with new Broncos coach Sean Payton, and meanwhile, Denver's lining up interviews with DC candidates seems a little uneven. Certainly does seem uneven, but it's also the Broncos' prerogative since Evero is under contract, and the Broncos are probably hedging just in case if Evero does get the Cardinals or the Colts job, which he's also a candidate for. So that's why they're lining up their DC interviews. But it just seems legitimately wrong, right? Where Evero, I mean, he can go interview with the Broncos, go interview with the Vikings or apparently the Rams, blah blah blah, but they're looking at candidates, but he can't. Again, I understand he's under contract, but it's not a good look. Breer continued. Evero would also be the top target for the Rams DC job, where he served on staff for a couple seasons. Should Raheem Morris get the Colts job, a possibility since Morris interviewed very well in Indy. If the Vikings can't get Evero, Steelers assistant Brian Flores would likely move to the top of their list. So Breer saying that it's Evero Flores. I think it's relatively nebulous, but it's clear that those are the Vikings' top 2 choices because as of right now, since Ryan Nielsen got the Falcons DC job and Sean Desai has withdrawn to focus on being the Broncos candidate, which is ironic because Avero's currently has that job. It's Evero, it's Flores, and also Mike Pettin. I think pretty obviously is the fallback option if the Vikings miss on both Evero and Flores. And for the Broncos, I mean, their DC candidates list looks pretty similar, huh? All right, so they got Evero in-house, but pending what happens with the Colts and the Cardinals job. They also reached out to Flores and also Sean Desai, because Peyton initially wanted Vic Fangio back, and like we said, that would have been super weird since Fangio used to be the Broncos head coach, but if he can't get him, he's not taking Ed Donatel, but he wants some of the flavor that you savor from the Vic Fangio defensive tree. So it's Sean Desai, who Fangio thinks very highly of, since they had some crossover in Chicago. Obviously, he would be a pretty hot candidate there. But it really does seem like everything is hinging on the Colts and the Cardinals head coaching search. And it seems like the things are dragging on much longer than you would think. First off, Everett and their mom interviewed for the Colts job, including myself. I'm pretty sure I'm on this list. And they're having 3rd round of interviews, which is unheard of. It's crazy. Usually there's 2 rounds and then you pick your head coach. So maybe it's a spot where no one really wants this job. Maybe no one wants to coach for Jim Irsay. It's possible, man. And the Cardinals, I sort of understand it because they just hired new GM Monty Ossenford a couple weeks ago, so maybe he's just settling in and getting up to speed. But also, maybe this job isn't so hot because part of this roster's in shambles, and also you have to deal with man-child quarterback Kyler Murray. So I don't know. I don't know, man, but. Yeah, I mean, it is possible that Flores, who is the betting favorite to get the Cardinals job, mainly because of his connection with Monty Ossenford back to the Patriots days, maybe he gets the Cardinals job. Maybe Evero gets the Colts job, and then maybe Raheem Morris stays put in Los Angeles as the Rams DC, and then the Vikings are left with Pettin, which I think certainly was the hedge because the Vikings didn't want it to seem to fans that they would miss out on their top candidates. Where say their top 4 candidates were Nielsen, who went to the Falcons, Desai, who withdrew, and Evero, who could get the Colts job, Flores, who could get the Cardinals job, or whatever. And then what if they went 0 for 4? And so there's a reason why Pettin got a formal interview, just so that they could say, it's like, hey, we got the guy we wanted all along. or something like that, man. But again, it is a little bit ridiculous that the Broncos are just sort of stamping on this, where they're trying to hedge their bet. They're like, hey, if Evero doesn't get the head coaching jobs, maybe we want to keep him. We want that option, but just not a good look, man. Just not a good look. But your thoughts are thoughts. The Vikings have formally requested to interview Broncos defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero. Broncos biding their time. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But till next time, Skol, production value.